These are the tubular upper control arms available for all 04 to 2020 F-150s with a stock ride height up to a 2-inch front end lift or level. Now you guys should be checking out these options here if you'd like to grab one of the more affordable tubular options for your stock or leveled F-150 to improve the ride quality, correct your ball joint angle, and prevent any binding or interference that you might be getting with the stock upper control arms in place. Now these options will combine that durable tubular steel build along with a black powder coat, high performance polyurethane bushings, and greasable ball joints, all for right around that high $300 price point for the pair. All right, getting into our list of features, and first and foremost, I do want to point out that you are getting a much stronger upper control arm here that again has been designed to work with stock F-150s or stock ride height F-150s up to a 2-inch lift or level, or really anything in between. Now, if you have a bigger front end lift or level, well, there will be different options for you available on the site, specifically those that are designed to work with a 2 to 4-inch lift or level. So again, if you have something a little bit bigger, definitely check out some of our other options instead. Now, if you're not, or if you have, again, the 0 to 2-inch option, check these out. They are definitely going to be for you. Now, these guys have been designed this way due to the angle of the ball joint, which when installed does correct the geometry, allowing for factory alignment specs. Now, on top of the geometry, the design of the uppers here will also allow for complete travel or articulation without binding or interference, which can happen on more aggressive front end lift or levels with the stock uppers in place. A lot of times at full droop, you'll get interference with those stock upper control arms, which is never a good thing. So if you want to not only upgrade the strength, but also the articulation, these are a great way to do so. Moving into construction, and again, far superior here due to the tubular steel design when compared to your weak factory upper control arms. Now that tubular steel build is going to house the heavy-duty OEM style ball joint that is greasable and serviceable. So KSP includes these little caps here to cover the Zerk fitting on the ball joint, which you can just pop these off and grease these bad boys as needed. Now on top of that, if you eventually wind up maybe killing the upper ball joint just due to miles or wear and tear in general, you can actually replace the ball joint itself. You're gonna have to press it out, get a new one in, of course, but that is nice and will allow you to maintain these tubular upper control arms without needing to basically throw them out and getting a brand new set. So I really like that feature here, and that is something that's pretty cool and worth pointing out. Now the entire package is completed in a black powder coat to help keep things looking good for years to come. Of course, other highlights here do include these brand new polyurethane bushings in red. That's gonna give this thing maybe a little bit more of a firmer ride off-road, but definitely a little bit more control at the same time. So I really like the poly bushings. I really like the serviceable ball joints in addition to these caps or dust caps that will keep those protected, but still allow everything to be greased accordingly. Price point for the tubular uppers here will land in that mid to high $300 price range, which are currently one of your most affordable on the site for owners looking to upgrade to a fully welded tubular replacement. Now, if you don't need all of the extra beef or the tubular steel design, but rather maybe have a stock style upper control arm for whatever reason, well, you can certainly find more affordable factory style replacements here on the site that will forego things like the beefed up construction, polyurethane bushings, serviceable ball joint, and things like that. So regardless, feel free to check out the rest of our selection here at AT before making your final decision. All right, moving into install here, guys, and again, these do feature a relatively simple bolt-on install, so therefore the site's gonna call this a strong 2 out of 3 wrenches on the difficulty meter, taking you a couple of hours or so to complete from start to finish. And now to give you a better idea of how this one might go down on your F-150 at home, let's throw it out to the shop for our detailed walkthrough and tool breakdown.
For this install, you will need various impacts, a swivel adapter, 3/8 a half-inch adapter if necessary, 8, 10, shallow and deep 18, 21, and 22 millimeter sockets, a bungee cord, a soft mallet, some grease, 3/8 and 21 millimeter wrenches, a 15 millimeter ratcheting wrench, and a large hammer. Also not shown here is the jack and jack stands. All right, today we're going to be installing an upper control arm on our F-150, so let's get started. All right, so we've got the truck in the air, we've got the wheels off. The first thing we need to do is separate our ABS and brake lines from our knuckle as well as our frame mount here. That's going to prevent excess tension from getting on these lines once we start separating everything out. So we'll grab our 8mm socket and our 10mm socket on our impact, get these two off, then we'll grab our 10mm socket and get this back bracket off as well. We'll get our 8mm out first, set that aside. Use our 10mm socket to get this one out. Separate that. We're also going to remove this bracket back here with our 10mm socket. That's going to free everything up along here. Next, we need to remove our outer tie rod, so we're going to remove the 21mm nut with our 21mm socket first. You can see if this will unseat. Sometimes they're stuck in there, so we're going to grab a hammer and give this a few taps, pop this out. We'll give this a few soft taps. Get that to come out. We can remove our nut fully. Get our tie rod out. We'll just put that nut right back on to hold it in place. Next, we're going to loosen our upper control arm ball joint nut. So for that, we've got our 18mm socket and swivel adapter. And we're not going to fully remove this because we want this to catch the control arm and the knuckle, because we're going to unseat this next. Now we're going to take our hammer and give our knuckle a few taps to get this unseated. Now we're going to put a bungee cord around the top of our knuckle and secure it to our frame, because when we do fully separate this, we want something to hold the weight of the knuckle and the lower control arm. We're just going to hook this in. Make sure you're not pinching any lines. Process. Next, we're going to be removing our sway bar end link from our lower control arm. So we're going to remove this 18mm nut with our 18mm socket. Now we can fully separate our upper control arm from our knuckle. We're going to pull down on this just a little bit. Get this nut all the way out. Push up on that and gently let our knuckle swing to the side. As you can see, it's got its weight supported with our bungee cord. There's no stress on our axle. Next, we can remove our lower strut nuts. Now, from the factory, you should have studs on your struts with 18mm nuts. However, ours have been replaced with bolts. So we're going to use our 22mm socket and our 21mm wrench. At home, you should just be needing an 18mm socket. First one out. Next, we're going to remove our 3 upper strut mounting nuts with our 15mm ratcheting wrench. And we're going to leave one on by a couple threads just to help hold the weight. And we've got our strut supported. Here's this last nut. Remove our strut. Next, we can remove our 2 upper control arm mounting bolts. So we've got an 18mm socket with a swivel adapter and a 21mm wrench. Get the first one out. We'll leave that bolt in for now. Do the same thing for this side. You want to be careful on this side of your brake lines. We can remove our bolts, support our control arm, and remove it. All right, now that we have our factory control arm out, it's time to start assembling our new setup so we can install it onto the vehicle. The first thing we're going to need to do is install our bushings and our sleeve. To do that, we're going to grab some grease, we're gonna put a light film around the outer edge and the inner edge of our bushings. We'll do that for all of them. Yeah, you don't need a lot, just a nice little layer, as well as our sleeves. And we'll do the same thing for our other bushings as well. Now we're gonna get our bushings into place first. Get them started. Sometimes they push right in, sometimes they're gonna need a little persuasion. Get them in both sides. Once we have those on, we can install our sleeves. Now to get these flush, you may have to take a soft mallet, lay your bushing flat on a preferably wooden table so you don't damage your bushing. Tap those in. We'll do the same thing for the other sleeve. Now once we have all these in, we're going to install our provided grease fittings. So we'll thread our grease fittings in. It's always a good idea to do these by hand. They're very tiny threads. And you want to grab a 3/8 wrench. Tighten these down. Preferably you want these pointing out. If at all possible. About as tight as you can get them, and we'll do the same thing on the other side. Now we're going to install our cap. You do have a grease fitting on your ball joint for service intervals. For now we're going to cover this up periodically as per the manufacturer specifications. You do want to come in and grease your ball joints. Sometimes these are a little stubborn. We use our soft mallet. Now we can install our control arm. So we're going to line this up with our factory mounting points. Now with these new bushings, they might be a little bit stiff. So I have to work them into place. Now if you need a little extra persuasion, you can grab that soft mallet we already used and tap these into place. You want to line it up with your holes. Now that we've got this lined up, we're going to grab our factory bolts and get those back in position. We'll get both of them through. Then we'll reinstall our 21mm nuts. Now we're going to snug these down again with our 18mm socket and swivel and our 21mm wrench. Now we'll get our strut back in position. We're going to get one of our top mounting nuts in place to hold it. Once we got that one in, we can loosely reinstall our other two. Get this back one in. Next, we're going to get our bottom strut mounting bolts back in, and once again, doing this at home, you should have studs coming through. Just want to line those up. You might have to push down on your control arm a little bit. Get this back in position. Other bolt through. Now we're going to lift up on our lower control arm and get our nuts back in place. Again, you should be installing your 18mm nuts at home. Get our other one in. And we'll come in and tighten these down again with our 21 mil wrench, 22 mil socket. You should be using an 18 mil socket at home. Now we're going to reinstall our 18 millimeter nut for our sway bar link. We'll tighten that back down. Now we're going to swing our knuckle over and get our new ball joint into our knuckle. Swing this up. You can also take your bungee cord off, make it easier to do this. You may have to push up on your control arm. Bring that down. Then we can install our supplied flange nut. Now we'll tighten this back down with our 21 millimeter socket on our swivel. Now we'll get our tie rod back in place. Swing that over. Line that back up. Get our 21 millimeter nut on. Tighten that back down with our 21 mil socket. Now we'll tighten down our 3 upper strut mounting nuts, again with our 15 mil ratchet wrench. Now we'll get our 3 brackets back in place. So we'll grab our 2 10 millimeter bolts. Get this one back in first. Tighten that down with our 10 mil socket. We'll get our brake line bracket back in. That bolt in 10 mil socket. We'll get our ABS line back in with our 8 millimeter. Use our 8 mil socket to tighten that down. Now once you got this side installed, you can repeat the same process for the other side. Always remember to torque all of your hardware down to the manufacturer recommended specifications. Alrighty, that about wraps up our review and install of our front upper control arms for a 0 to 2 inch lift and black finish for your 04 to 20 F-150, excluding the Raptor. Thanks for watching, and as always, for everything F-150, keep it right here at AmericanTrucks.com.